Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you a true horror story that happened in America, and it's one that has terrified people for decades. This is the story of the Amityville Horror. It all started on November 13th, 1974, in a small town called Amityville on Long Island, New York. A young man named Ronald DeFeo Jr., who was 23 years old, committed a horrific act. He shot and killed 6 members of his family while they were sleeping in their home at 112 Ocean Avenue. The victims included his parents, Ronald DeFeo Sr. and Louise, and his 4 younger siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew. DeFeo claimed that he heard voices telling him to kill his family, but he was later convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 terms of 25 years to life in prison. He died in prison in March 2021. The house where this tragedy occurred stood empty for over a year until December 1975, when George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, Daniel, Christopher, and Melissa, and their dog Harry, moved in. They bought the house for $80,000, hoping to start a new life in this seemingly peaceful neighborhood. But what happened next would become one of the most famous haunted house stories in history. The Lutzes claimed that from the very first night, strange and terrifying things began to happen. On December 18, 1975, the day they moved in, they invited a priest, Father Ralph J. Pecoraro, to bless the house. During the blessing, the priest reportedly heard a voice saying, "Get out," from upstairs, but he continued with the ceremony. Over the next 28 days, the Lutzes experienced a series of paranormal events that they said drove them out of the house. They reported hearing heavy footsteps, seeing green slime oozing from the walls, and feeling an oppressive presence. George Lutz claimed that he woke up one night to find his wife levitating above the bed, and there were other instances where they felt as if they were being watched or touched by unseen forces. The children also had disturbing experiences. Daniel, the oldest child, began waking up in the middle of the night, and Melissa developed a fear of going upstairs. The family dog, Harry, refused to go upstairs and would cower in fear. The Lutzes also noticed physical changes in the house. The temperature would drop suddenly, and there was a persistent odor of decay. They even found that their boat, which was stored in the basement, had been moved to the middle of the living room, despite the doors being locked. After 28 days, on January 14, 1976, the Lutzes fled the house in the middle of the night, leaving most of their belongings behind. They claimed that the paranormal activity followed them to Kathy's mother's house in Deer Park, New York, but eventually subsided. The story of the Amityville Horror gained widespread attention when Jay Anson published a book titled The Amityville Horror in September 1977. The book was based on 45 hours of tape-recorded interviews with the Lutz family and sold around 10 million copies. It was later adapted into a successful film franchise, starting with the 1979 movie starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder. However, the story has been surrounded by controversy. Some skeptics, including William Weber, who was DeFeo's lawyer, claimed that the entire story was fabricated. Weber alleged that he and the Lutzes concocted the tale over bottles of wine, and he even filed lawsuits against them for misappropriation and invasion of privacy. The Lutzes, in turn, sued Weber for defamation, but the case was dismissed by a judge. Despite the controversies, the Amityville Horror remains a chilling tale that has captivated audiences for years. The house itself has been renovated and the address changed, but it still stands today, a reminder of the terrifying events that allegedly took place within its walls. So, what do you think? Is the Amityville Horror a true story, or just an elaborate hoax? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true horror stories. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.